Amanda, thank you so much for speaking to me today from Sri Lanka. I think that's where you are.
It is very
absolutely
hot.
Fantastic. Yes, not so much here in Shropshire, but thank you. It's fantastic that you're coming on board with the campaign. I am, hugely grateful. And I guess I just wanted you to talk through with me initially about why you feel it's important.
I have felt really strongly about this issue for many years now. And I've talked about it in the media, and I was horrified that my ideas and my opinions were poo-pooed and ridiculed. And a lot of them were saying things like, well, you're all right.
Yeah.
And I said, well, at the moment, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be in a few months' time. And what about everybody else? Because it ain't just me. There's lots of us out there that are not being used. And I think one of the most important things is seeing the demographic. This is for TV. The demographic of viewers are women over the age of 40. That's the major demographic. And they are not being represented, and their issues are not being represented. So as well as worrying about the fact that, where's my next job coming from? And I'm not ready to hang up my spurs. I'm just not. What about the fact that no one is talking about the things that are important to me? And that's why. And as much as I've spoken to other people about it, and they've all agreed, well, yes, it's, we really should do something. Nothing ever gets done. So this campaign, I think, is utterly fantastic. And I really thank you, Nikki, for asking me to be involved. I'm really honoured. It's great.
Well, it's been wonderful. And I mean, the great support everywhere I've taken it. So I launched back in 2018. Everywhere I've taken it, women, so many women, younger women, older women, men, have all said, this is exactly what we think. We turn on our TV, we go to the theatre, we go to the cinema, and we're not seeing ourselves. We're either seeing ourselves, the men are saying, in middle age, paired with much younger actresses, which feels strange and unusual, and definitely unrepresentative. Or it's the women who are working all day, going home, turning on the TV and just not seeing themselves. And this metric across every demographic, it just impacts, I think.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit about sort of your experiences in terms of ages?
When I was in my 20s, I was told by actresses who were much older than me, make hay whilst the sun shines, because when you hit your 40s, the work will stop. And they were very accepting of that, actually, sadly. Well, when I hit my 40s, I was very lucky because that didn't happen. And it didn't happen to many of my friends either. In fact, we sailed through our 40s really quite happily. But when we hit early 50s, then I did start to notice it. Little bit by little bit, the decent job offers became more scarce. But then I noticed that our male peers seemed to be working prolifically in their 50s, 60s, 70s. They didn't seem to be having a problem at all. And it was around this time that I had an idea for a TV drama, which I took to the networks, and I had a meeting with top TV execs, and I suggested, not as the main thrust of the plot, storyline, but as a sort of sidebar to it, that the two female protagonists, both of whom were in their early 50s, we should be looking at the fact that they'd be going through the menopause and the issues that they would be dealing with, just as we have to do in real life. We do our work, but if going through the menopause, we have to deal with that as well. And the reaction I got was, well, the year before, this issue, and I'm quoting here, this issue was dealt with in a soap over 3 episodes, so nobody would be interested in going there again.
Oh my God.
Quite seriously.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, would they say the same about crime dramas? We dealt with that.
Films about war. Yeah. James Bond.
Exactly. I mean, I was, well, quite. I was just astounded by that. And it's got worse and worse and worse as I've got older. And I have found that very, very difficult to cope with, because I've been very lucky in that I haven't been out of work until these last few years, when the offers have been, you know, very, very decent offers have been very, very few and very few. Now, I watch an enormous amount of TV drama. My husband says way too much, but COVID's given me a brilliant excuse. And in January, I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make lists of certain things. And so this is what I have discovered. I've watched 36 British TV dramas since January.
Yeah.
Now, over those 36 dramas, 23 women over the age of 50 have had decent roles.
Yeah.
As opposed to 67 men. I think that kind of says it all, doesn't it?
Well, it does. It absolutely does.
I also, the fact that I think it's marvelous that our colleagues, our male colleagues, are getting involved in this campaign. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and you know, we need to get as many as we possibly can, I think.
Yeah.
But how interesting that really and truthfully, it will take them to change this.
Yeah, because it needs, and I know many of them feel it, because obviously with a campaign like this, I have a lot of people talking to me privately. They say, I can't say this publicly. They're notable figures, and that's men, women, actresses across the whole of media, in fact, so presenters, writers, directors, and they all come back and say the same thing. This campaign is something that we know is real. It's, as they say, a known. But talking about it is almost, it's the last taboo. I think ageism targeting women, so what I call gendered ageism, it is in performing and in the industry as a whole, is the last taboo. And yet we know when things are not allowed to be talked about, that's where the real problems occur. So I've done quite a lot of research with the campaign, because research, I think, and data is the key. And what I discovered was that over the last 21 years of the BAFTA TV Leading Actor and Actress Awards, the average age in 21 years for women nominees has fallen from average age 52 to average age 32. And that sort of fall for the men, it's dropped from average age 48 to average age 45. So they're still within their playing age range bracket.
Yeah.
But for women, it's just accepted. It's seen as being, as you were saying, you know, in your early career, this idea that it's just something that everyone's supposed to accept. But I'm not. And the awful thing about me is, because I'm the sort of person, when I see something that's wrong, I want to talk about it, and finding so many shut doors.
Yes.
That's the fear for me, and the worrying part about it. So do you, with the drama that you had, what was the net result then? The net result was not let's cut the part about menopause, but just let's not make it, or let's not commission it? What happened with that?
Yeah, let's make it, but let's make the women younger.
And how much younger?
15 years.
Oh.
So I pulled it.
Good for you. Good for you. Away. Yeah.
And it's never been made as a result.
Which is horrific.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the quality and the quantity. So the amount of times women are appearing on screen, but also one of the things about the campaign is I talk about the adjunct test. So women are appearing in middle age, but they're an adjunct to the male protagonist.
Yeah.
And they will have a few lines. They're usually very stereotypical. They're humorless, often mothers who are ruining their daughters' lives, former wives. I did a whole series of comedy parody videos to talk about where we feature. But it's interesting, and it's interesting to see this baton, that's what I'm trying to break. I'm trying to break handing that baton from one generation of women
next,
to the next.
Yeah.
So what do you feel? I mean, you've said before to me that you've talked to many people in the industry, and that this is a feeling that's pretty universal from men and women.
Yes, it is. I think that what you were saying actually about older men, they do feel a little bit ridiculous being paired with younger women, you know. Of course, they're not going to say no, the large majority of them, because we all need a job, we all need to work. But they don't feel great about it. And I thought it was very interesting what Joe Milson said, that he said he wants to work with experienced actors.
Yeah.
It's like in any job, you want to work with experienced people. You want to work with people who know what they're doing. That's not to say that younger people don't know what they're doing, but obviously people who've been in it for a very long time and who have remained in it probably do know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's very tricky. I think the fact that this is now being talked about and the amount it's being talked about, I think that the people who are able to make the change will have to listen. I think they will have to listen, as long as we don't stop. You know, we've got to keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
And keep on and keep on and keep on. And then they will have to. They will have to.
Yeah.
Am I being naive? Probably. I don't know. But
I don't think so. I don't think so at all, because I think what we've seen, and we've seen this in recent years with lots of aspects of the industry and problematic areas and very dark areas of the industry, is that the stories that women are telling and the status quo that's being challenged has been challenged over a period of many years.
Yeah.
But I think possibly what this can do is accelerate it, and it can say, you know what, if we're going to talk about representation and we're going to talk about diversity, we have to include the fact that there is an enabled and supported area of discrimination that nobody really wants to discuss. I mean, it's been really interesting since Kate Muir's documentary that she made with Davina about menopause, harking back to what you were saying, the fact that that documentary has been embraced by all generations, because younger women want to know and they want to see themselves. I mean, I can remember being a young audience member and seeing women on screen. I think it was the first Wives Club that I was a lot younger then. And I remember thinking, this is wonderful. This is what we want to see. We want to think we have a future, not that we have a shelf life, whereas men on screen have a whole life. But this opportunity, and I think we're better now at understanding it, but we still have this block. And I think it's 75% of UK TV industry, so across that whole industry, are under the age of 50, and only 19% are over the age of 50, and they are majority men. But I think we also need to send that call out to women, because women are commissioners, women are editors. Yes. And finding a place for this story in the media needs to be placed at a higher premium and a higher priority.
Yes. I mean, years ago, I can't even remember how many years ago it was, I was watching Sons of Anarchy, which is an American long-running series. And the leading actress in that was in her late 50s. Mm-hmm. Playing a really sexy, sassy woman. You know, she was part of the bikers club, and it was a great role. And one of the episodes, I will never forget, was all about her menopause.
Wow.
The whole episode was about her going through the menopause.
Yeah.
And they didn't hold back. And I thought, that is superb. That is absolutely brilliant. It was very, very realistic. It was great. And I'm wondering if the Britishness of us means that we are slightly embarrassed about dealing with it.
Yeah. Yeah. As though that should be unsaid and left unsaid, because it might make a few people feel uncomfortable.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I worry because I run a drama school for young people over the age of 18. And there are these young female actors, and they say to me, well, is it a proper career? Is it going to last me my life, or will I have to retire much earlier than Johnny over there? And the truth is, I don't know what to say to them.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer to that, and I hate that.
Yeah. And yet, when I went to drama school, we had grants, so you'd go along and it would be paid for, and you wouldn't have to worry. But one of the things I often think about now is, if I was a young female drama student and I knew that I had possibly a third of the career trajectory of a male student in my tutorials, in my classes, and yet I had that debt I had to repay over the same length of time, I think I'd feel pretty pissed off.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And again, it's just this, it's 2021. We need to sort of stop thinking that it's okay, that it's reasonable and it's rational in any way to say to women, you have a career that will end. It'll start really plummeting about the age of 45. So all the research that's out there, and that's not me, that's Ofcom. And it starts at age 45. And yet for men, their careers stay pretty much constant and on and on. So it just seems such an old-fashioned idea that we're still holding tightly to ideas that began when the medium began, when film and TV was first created.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't moved on with this at all. I know.
So I shudder to ask for ideas for solutions, but what do you think is something that we could do to change this?
I think we just have to be very vocal about it, and I keep doing what you're doing. I mean, the mere fact that you started this is major kudos to you, because I moaned about it in the media probably 15 years ago. I started wittering on about it, and because of the backlash I got, I shut up.
Yeah.
I didn't have the courage to keep saying it, even though I felt it so deeply. So I think that we have to have the courage to keep talking about it and keep saying it as loudly as we can, with as much support from our male colleagues as possible, but also from young actresses and young actors, and young directors and young writers and young producers, because they will get here and they want to know that there's a career ahead of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just realizing I'm using my arms. Sorry about that.
Very beautiful arms. I think thank you for saying that. That is lovely, because I was at the point of giving up, and because I just... Why
were you? Why?
Basically because of a lack of interest in the media. All campaigns need press and they need media attention. And I was just knocking on doors, I was pitching pieces, and I was approaching journalists, and I was approaching broadcasters, and I would send out press releases, and when I'd get a little bit of interest. But universally, when I would look at the other campaigns, young women campaigns, unfortunately, there is sadly still this idea that there is young women news and there is no women news in some corners of media. And it just became, I found ridiculously that I was crying more than I was succeeding. And it started to really impact on my own, because all of us carry that fear that we're aging, and as women, we're supposed to absorb all these misogynistic messages, advertisers, everybody telling you that you are aging, therefore you're failing as a woman, and it just became so difficult. And then Julie Graham, brilliant Julie Graham, did a video saying no, this is awful, this is this campaign must continue, and I feel awful that Nick stopped it. And then just this outpouring from so many fabulous women like you, and Amanda and Amanda Abington, and then just snowballed. And I thought, well, okay, let's have a panel meeting. Let's do a panel meeting and see where we are. And it's been amazing that women, we are, I'm not going to cry, but we are one another's strength. You know, we sort
Yes,
of,
we are.